If you can get that formula right today, you are going to have an outsized impact.
Hey everyone, my name is Monica Curvada, and I am your host today for Velocitize Talks. I am so happy to be here with founder and CEO of Social Driver, Thomas Sanchez. This is a really amazing agency based in DC that has recently won the #1 minority-owned agency in the country. Such a great accomplishment, and I hope you all are so proud. We're certainly proud to be partnered with someone with that accolade. And Thomas, maybe you could just take a minute to introduce yourself and Social Driver.
Social Driver is a digital and creative agency. I think one of the things that really sets us apart is we really believe in our DNA that if we build a culture where our team can show up as their full selves, that authenticity that comes through can then be reflected into our clients and help them be authentic to their brand as well. We are just big fans of WordPress. We really like to push the limits of what WordPress can do, but we bring together the technology, the creative, the strategy to really help our clients connect with people today.
Maybe you can share a little bit more about the type of clients that Social Driver works with.
You have to build room in the brand for other people to get involved. And that's what we do a lot at Social Driver. We were recently working with a really large nonprofit on rolling out a new advocacy campaign where they're going to advocate for more funding for the Pell Grant. And as we put together that strategy, we literally in the creative made room in the brand for other faces to be involved. A lot of the content, the website involved real stories of people who have got a Pell Grant and it changed their life. And I think that the audience for that campaign was largely policymakers, members of Congress, regulators. And when they see those stories, you see the impact. And where you can disagree on policy, you can't disagree that that Pell Grant is making a difference for those people. And at the end of the day, we saw the success there where the administration, announced different funding for student loans and for different student programs. And I love working on, client issues like that.
Do you want to talk about how we get people involved? What are ways digitally that you can be strategic around that?
Today, there's sort of 3 ways that people get involved in a brand. One is that they could be looking and researching on their own. You see this in B2B brands, consumer brands, advocacy campaigns. You see that the audience is spending more time up front looking for information on their own. I call that intention marketing. So when folks are on an intent, how do you earn the right to be in their search results? How do you earn the right to be in their YouTube feed? But another way that we need to kind of think about building brands and advocacy is thinking about how do we grab people's attention. So that's where content is becoming more important than ever before. And how do you shape the voice and the narrative of the content you're creating so that people can see themselves in it? And then, lastly is what I call the mention marketing, word of mouth, social media, the power of getting digital, armies of followers, of supporters who love your brand so much that they're willing to leave a review. They're willing to share your content with their friends and coworkers.
Well, I know in a recent interview, you were talking about a meaty digital topic in our world of digital trends with the Metaverse and how it might be successfully harnessed in DC. So I'd love to hear more here on Velocitize and more of what your background in that and what we can all learn.
So I wrote an article called The District of Metaverse. And if you've ever lived in DC, you'll know that they call this region the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So I kind of hijacked that to call this the District of Metaverse, the new DMV.
Nice. The new DMV.
What I was advocating for was something that I think, will resonate with the WP Engine crowd, which is, the power of flipping the story around a little bit. With the open source movement, you put the power in the hands of the developer, in the hands of the entrepreneur, in the hands of the marketer, rather than it being locked up in some, powerful software company that controls everything. And I think with technology, and I say this really, thinking about minorities and underserved communities, technology sometimes leaves those folks behind that need it the most. When cell phones first rolled out or high-speed internet rolled out, a lot of times the communities that were left behind without access were the people who needed it the most. And so when I think about the District of Metaverse and what's possible everywhere with the Metaverse is, what if we think about who needs it the most up front? What if we think about those communities that could really use a virtual access to a doctor, or who don't have access to the best education in their schools? What if we gave them access early on and thought about how we include those underserved communities right up front? And so I've been advocating that as we roll out the technology, and I have one here, I have my Meta Quest here. When we roll out this technology, what if we put this in the hands of young people from underserved communities? Imagine that Latino young programmer or that Black entrepreneur who now has access to this technology today while everyone else is sort of still waiting for it. I think that we 5-10 years from now are going to be very impressed with what they do with it.
Where would you advise marketers, publishers, your clients to budget?
Content is still being underinvested in by most brands. And I don't just mean, posting on social media, but, to the point that we were talking about earlier, how are you actually helping people? Are they able to find the content that's going to help them along on their journey, whether that's buying or advocating or donating? I think that what I'm talking with my clients is thinking a lot more about their content. And with that comes sort of that brand personification, the storytelling, and then also just the helping get the right tools in the right hands. If you can get that formula right today, you are going to have an outsized impact. There was just an article earlier this summer in the Wall Street Journal that said brands that rely solely on placing advertising are going to, the cost of advertising is going up. And we all know it. Cookie technology is changing. Apple has rolled out privacy changes that make it harder to advertise to people the way that we used to. So brands need a new path forward, and content has to be at the heart because it all intersects.
Anything more you might advise or suggest around leveraging influencers?
I know some of your watchers are small businesses that are probably thinking, how do I apply some of this to my business? And I think you should really think about who are your supporters, your clients, your customers, the folks who are willing to show up early in the morning and late at night there for you. Tap into them, use them as part of your marketing strategy. Obviously it's authentic because they're there for you, but you'd be surprised how many people that are looking at you and thinking about doing business with you, how much they value hearing that from other people. If there's groups that you belong to, like a local chamber of commerce, or if you're a woman entrepreneur, you're part of the women business groups, or you're a minority entrepreneur, think about those communities as well, your peers, and how can they be there for you?
I wanted to touch on the spirit of Velocitize and how it can. We love to have a conversation about digital acceleration, and obviously we're fans of open source and WordPress. And so we love to see what's trending with digital acceleration. It's happening, obviously, all sides of the market. And I'm curious with your clients, where you see, some of the larger companies taking advantage of open source, and any trends that you wanted to share would be great.
I think for enterprise clients, especially, what they care about is speed, scale, and security. And WordPress is a perfect match for that. From a speed perspective, they get access to the open source code, so they're able to quickly be able to go in and do things like integrate with third-party platforms. From the scale and security side, that's where WP Engine comes in. Your platform, your infrastructure is almost turnkey. When we bring a client in, where we don't have to, we don't have to figure that out. It's already taken care of, and it's just a matter of kind of customizing it to make it work for our clients. Where a lot of the bigger clients, where WP Engine really shines is, and WordPress in general, is if you have more than one website. And you're pushing content out to more than one, or you're managing it. The fact that you can have, one user account that logs your marketing department into the multiple platforms. If you're using headless and you're pushing content up to multiple sites or experiences, that's a huge trend right now for the enterprise marketer that we're seeing. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to see where WordPress is today and where it's going just over the next couple of years, I think.
I'm curious to what degree you guys are working in headless at Social Driver. Do you have many projects that are oriented in that way?
We only have a few right now. And again, it's mainly for our larger clients because I think they're thinking more around content management and then how to build these personalized websites and user experiences for their customers. But I think there's going to be a lot more with headless coming with WordPress because the fact that clients are wanting to just provide more personalized experiences at the end of the day. So you see clients rolling out a lot more digital platforms that are targeted at very narrow audiences of customers. And it's just getting more complicated to manage, and headless makes perfect sense in that environment.
And so many digital properties for the larger companies. It's like sort of massive at scale. I'm curious for you, like your whole business is rooted around, your passions and your value and what you stand for. I'd love, just as a closing question for you, to know what's inspiring you right now? Like what gets you up in the morning and has you excited?
We're 11 years into the journey of Social Driver, where we founded the company around this idea. We call it our mantra. We say the future is bright, all progress is social, and the drivers make history. And to me, it is incredibly energizing to see that 11 years on, that mantra has become a movement. Our team across the United States inspire me with their work. The fact that we are working with some of the world's leading brands and nonprofit clients is only possible because our team and the fact that we've all aligned our values around this mission. And what's exciting too is that our clients believe in it. When you've been in business for 11 years, you will see people get promoted up and move on to new opportunities, maybe at another organization. And there's nothing more validating than getting the call saying, "and I'm bringing you with me." And, you know, I know that a lot of that is because we have tremendously talented, creative people. But I also know that it's because of our culture that they're coming along.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Everyone, that was Thomas Sanchez, co-founder and CEO of Social Driver. And this is Velocitize Talks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.